It's time for the KinoCheck news. Here we go. Dune 3 is set to shatter the heroic image of its main character. Henry Cavill will be the new Highlander, and Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese have their next project in mind after Killers of the Flower Moon. There is also news about the theatrical release of Godzilla x Kong, as well as the new The Lord of the Rings film. The cult game finally on the big screen. In the second trailer for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, there are also plenty of references to the original game about Freddy and his buddies. Fans can look forward to some murderous fun. Five Nights at Freddy's is based on the horror game series of the same name and tells us the story of Mike Schmidt, who was hired as a night security guard in a rundown diner. However, when he learns that the animatronic puppets are inhabited by the souls of dead children, he has to fear for his life. The first trailer already caused a lot of excitement. The audience particularly enjoyed the wealth of detail. The new trailer likewise shows that the movie will remain true to the original. First, there's the familiar view of the surveillance camera monitors. Then there are some unwelcome guests in Freddy's Pizzeria who have to deal directly with the terrifying animatronics. After the introduction of security guard Mike, played by Josh Hutcherson, we finally get to meet the bad guys: Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy. Then Mike pretty much sums up the story. Ghost children possessing giant robots? The trailer ends with a surprise guest. Of course, fan favorite Springtrap also makes an appearance in the film. Even after this trailer, the big question remains as to how explicit the film will be in terms of violence, and most importantly, what rating the film will end up with. Well, actually, the film has been given a PG-13 rating in the US due to the violent nature of the film, bloody images, and harsh language. The Five Nights at Freddy movie opens in theaters on October 27th and is sure to cause some excitement among the large fan community. It has to be expected. The postponement of Dune 2 sets off a chain reaction of further delays on the part of Warner. Thus, Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, and The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim are also receiving new release dates. The postponement of Dune 2 to mid-March is causing a real knock-on effect. The monster blockbuster Godzilla x Kong, for example, has been pushed back from March 15th to April 12th, 2024. And the new The Lord of the Rings animated film is even being significantly delayed. It will not be released for another 6 months on December 13th, 2024. Due to the current writers and actor strike, many productions are at a standstill, meaning that shootings for films such as Gladiator 2, Beetlejuice 2, Mission Impossible 8, or the new Tarantino film The Movie Critic are likely to be delayed further, putting any planned release dates at risk. At least 2 big Warner films are set to be released this year. As scheduled, Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet, will keep its December 15th release date, and Jason Momoa is still expected to bring the movie year to a dramatic close with Aquaman 2 on December 20th. Although Dune 2 has been officially pushed back to next year due to the strikes, director Denis Villeneuve has expressed his enthusiasm for a third installment. The initial idea was to adapt the famous novel by Frank Herbert into 2 films. Thanks to the success and global popularity of Dune, the director was able to realize his plan. Dune 2, which Villeneuve describes as an action-packed and epic war film, is scheduled for release on March 15, 2024. Part 2 was supposed to be the end of the story, but there's still room for more. Fans of the original know, of course, that the film adaptations are merely adaptations of the first novel. However, the literary work of Arrakis includes several other books that also provide material for potential future film adaptations. This opinion is likewise shared by Denis Villeneuve, who talked about a possible third part in an interview with Empire. It is to be based on the second novel, Dune Messiah. It shows that Paul is anything but a hero, even if many perceive him that way. It was Villeneuve's dream to tell the story as a trilogy. The other Dune books, however, would be too esoteric for him. Whether a third movie will actually be made in the end remains to be seen, and is also likely to depend on the success of its predecessor. Dune was successful in 2021, but not to the extent that Warner would have liked. However, we can expect that Part 2 won't be a flop either. After all, the anticipation for the upcoming film seems way too huge. So there's a good chance that Villeneuve will be able to realize his visions and present us with an epic conclusion to the story of Arrakis with Dune 3. There seems to be no lack of ideas and enjoyment of the story material. From The Witcher to The Highlander. After Christopher Lambert, Henry Cavill is now to take on the role of the immortal swordsman. John Wick director Chad Stahelski gave an interview about the current status of the project. Plans for a reboot of the 1986 fantasy classic Highlander have been in the pipeline since 2016. The movie is about a group of chosen immortals who fight each other over the course of centuries until there is only one remaining. The immortals' motto: there can be only one. Since the announcement of the reboot, the project has been joined by some great names. Director Stahelski is considered an absolute connoisseur of the action genre, and the John Wick movies speak for themselves. Then, 2 years ago, it was revealed that Henry Cavill had been cast in the role of the Highlander. In the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Stahelski now gave an update on the project and reported why a return of the Highlander is currently taking such a long time. According to him, the entire project revolves a lot around the same characters as in the previous movies and TV series. But at the same time, it is also kind of a prequel and prepares the final gathering of the immortals. They want to take as much time as possible to do justice to the complex story. It won't be a simple remake of the original, but rather the starting point for further movies from the universe. Currently, everything is still in the planning phase, and therefore it is hard to tell when the adventure will be shown on the big screen. What is certain, however, is that with Stahelski and Cavill, very talented people are in charge of the project. News from Hollywood's Dream Team. Another collaboration between star director Martin Scorsese and actor Leonardo DiCaprio is on the way. The Wager is set to be another novel adaptation by author David Grann after Killers of the Flower Moon, and will tell a story between heroism and mutiny. The Wager, with the subtitle A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny, and Murder, is based on true events and recounts the story of a group of men who are washed ashore on the coast of Brazil. They report that they are the sole survivors of the British ship Wager, shipwrecked on a deserted island after fighting a Spanish galleon. The members of the group are initially celebrated as heroes. However, some 6 months later, other men arrive who accuse them of mutiny and reproach them for leaving the rest of the crew for dead. The movie is to take place in 3 locations: at sea, the island, and in a courtroom. Leonardo DiCaprio will once again play a leading role. More specific details, though, are not available yet. It also remains to be seen whether The Wager will really be Scorsese's next project. The director has plenty of other projects up his sleeve, including a movie about Jesus, a biopic about former US President Theodore Roosevelt, also featuring DiCaprio, and a project about the band Grateful Dead, in which Jonah Hill is to play the role of frontman Jerry Garcia. Hill already collaborated with Scorsese in The Wolf of Wall Street. It therefore remains to be seen which project the director will tackle next. The Wager is nonetheless considered a hot contender. That wraps things up for today. Are you excited for Five Nights at Freddy's? We sure are. And just in case you want to see more content, check out our movie preview for I Am Legend 2, starring Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. Thanks for watching, and see you next week for more KinoCheck news.